You're born. Sort of. First, you have to break out of this tiny, leathery prison you've been trapped in for months. You push, you twist, you wiggle, until finally, you crack through. Congratulations! You've just won the first battle of your life. And your reward? Mud. Thick, sticky, and absolutely everywhere. No warm welcome, no proud parents, no cozy nest to curl up in, just humidity, insects screaming in the background, and the crushing realization that you are completely on your own. No mom to feed you, no siblings to help, just you, and a jungle full of things that want to eat you. Welcome to existence, little snake. You're a Burmese python, and life is about to get ridiculous. Baby problems. You slither out of your eggshell, taking your first wobbly steps, slides, into the world. At barely a foot long, you are adorable. But unfortunately, in the animal kingdom, adorable is just another word for bite sized. Everything wants a piece of you. Monitor lizards, hawks, bigger snakes. It's like a jungle supermarket, and you're the free sample everyone wants a bite of. Your only survival strategy? Don't get eaten. So, you do what any self respecting noodle would do. You hide. You bury yourself in leaf litter, perfectly still, hoping that nobody notices the scared spaghetti strand blending into the dirt. And when you do move, it's with the grace of a toddler trying to sneak cookies past their parents. Awkward, slow, and completely obvious. But instinct kicks in. You flick your tongue, tasting the air. You spot a frog. You strike, and miss, because, let's be honest, you suck at this right now. The frog hops away, leaving you with a bruised ego and an empty stomach. This is your life now. Trial and error, mostly error. The awkward teen phase. Somehow, against all odds, you survive. You figure out how to actually catch things. Frogs? Delicious. Small rodents? Even better. You start swallowing meals whole, which is super convenient. No chewing, no mess. Just unhinge your jaw like a reptilian horror movie villain, and down the hatch it goes. And the best part? You never stop growing. Ever. You are, quite literally, an unstoppable flesh tube. But growing fast has its downsides. Every few weeks, your skin gets way too tight, and suddenly, you're wrapped in a scaly straitjacket. You have to shed, rub against trees, rocks, whatever you can find, to wiggle out of your old, outdated skin like a snake version of peeling off a sunburn. Gross, but necessary. Meanwhile, your hunger? Absolutely unhinged. You start eyeing bigger meals. Rabbits, birds, maybe even a small deer, if you're feeling ambitious. But with bigger meals come bigger risks. The art of the squeeze. By now, you're a certified ambush predator. You've got patience, you've got stealth, and most importantly, you've got muscles for days. You spot an unsuspecting rodent. You strike with lightning speed, wrap around it like a cold-blooded boa constrictor, because, well, you are one, and squeeze. Every time it exhales, you tighten your grip. No escape, no mercy. This is nature's original hug of death. But here's where things get complicated. One day you get a little too ambitious. You see a pig, a big pig, and your stomach says, "You got this, you do not got this." Halfway through swallowing, you realize this was a terrible idea. Your body is stretched to its absolute limit, and moving? Impossible. You just became a giant sausage casing filled with pig, vulnerable, bloated, and completely at the mercy of anything that decides to take a chomp out of you. Lesson learned. Just because you can swallow something whole doesn't always mean you should. The nightmare of invasive pythons. Back in your homeland, life is tough, but manageable. But some of your relatives, they got picked up by humans, stuffed into crates, and shipped across the world to Florida. And in Florida? Oh boy. With no natural predators and a never-ending supply of swamp snacks, Burmese pythons took one slither through the Everglades and decided, yep, this is home now. And Florida's animals? Completely unprepared. Rabbits? Gone. Raccoons? Vanishing. Alligators? Getting choked out like wrestlers in a championship match? The ecosystem? Ruined. So now humans are on a mission to hunt your Florida cousins down, tracking, capturing, and sometimes even wrestling them for sport. It's a snake's worst nightmare. The ultimate solo player. By now, you've probably noticed something. You don't have friends. No pack, no pride, no cozy little snake squad. You are the definition of a lone wolf, except, without the legs. Unlike lions, wolves, or even some social reptiles, Burmese pythons live their entire lives alone. No mentors, no backup, no one to watch your tail. The closest thing to family bonding you ever experienced was sitting in an egg next to your siblings, and the second you hatched, it was every snake for themselves. Sure, loneliness has its perks. No one steals your food, no one bosses you around, and you don't have to share your favorite hiding spot. But it also means that every mistake is your last. If you get injured, tough luck. If you bite off more than you can swallow, literally, you won't have anyone to save you from choking yourself into oblivion. It's a tough, unforgiving life. But if there's one thing you've mastered, it's surviving on your own. The final boss phase. Back home, if you're lucky, you just keep growing. You hit 10 feet, 15 feet, maybe even 20 plus feet. You weigh over 200 pounds, and at this point, nothing messes with you. Your old enemies, birds, lizards, other snakes, they fear you now. You've officially hit apex predator status. And here's the wild part. Despite your terrifying reputation, you're still vulnerable. Deforestation is wiping out your home. Humans are capturing you for the pet trade. And in some places, people see you as a delicacy. After all the struggling, the hiding, the constant near-death experiences, this is what it comes down to? The end? Or is it? Maybe you get lucky. Maybe you live a long, sneaky life, growing into a legend of the jungle. Maybe you even have hatchlings of your own. Not that you'll ever meet them. Snake parenting is basically abandonment speedrun. Or maybe one day, a human stumbles upon you, decides you'd look great as a pair of boots, and suddenly, your epic saga ends with a fashion statement. Such is the life of a Burmese python. You started as a fragile noodle, dodged every imaginable disaster, grew into an absolute beast. And yet, you still had no control over your fate. So, does it suck to be born as a Burmese python? Well, let's just say it's not for the weak. If you think the Burmese python had it tough, wait till you see what this animal had to go through. Trust me, you won't believe it.